So here we are on turn 6 of War of the Ring. Fellowship has a clear route through to Edoras, but here's the question. Is it more sensible for me to take the Rohirrim and smash into Saruman's force? Now, I'm not going to do it, but they have slightly more force. Unfortunately, the terrain outside of Helm's Deep is pink, this Roth, which will double. So they wouldn't be able to get the 1-to-1 odds. If they had the 1-to-1, it would be an interesting choice, because chances are with Aragorn carrying Anduril, Aragorn's morale is 4, with Anduril it goes up to 5. That's better than anything Saruman's likely to do, and it would be a chance to try to turn the battle over here. If they pull out of here, Yomer trying to defend here in Edoras is not going to be very powerful. And in fact, we're going to see something interesting. We're going to walk in here to get the magic items. The group was actually discovered by a bunch of orcs, but not with no capture attempt. Now they're going to pull through to Edoras, and the Rohirrim are going to lead them through with the military to give them a chance to get by. But as of right now, their goal is to get the magic items that they can get in Edoras. So there's no real harm to getting these together. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can gather everything here at Edoras, including the Fellowship itself. And yes, the game has a tendency to get stacks like this if you don't play with the special countermix. Now, everybody who's spotted here is no longer spotted, so I could conceivably try to slip through as well. There's also the possibility, if the right card is in place, for Aragorn marching down through Dunharrow. All different possibilities and options there. But right now I'm ending the turn here in Edoras and grabbing a couple of cards. And very important, the Elven Rope card. Now, the evil player doesn't know I have this, but it allows someone to essentially climb into Mordor without having to go through some of the special locations. And then the Lembas, which allows forces to move through any terrain except for impassable at a cost of 1 movement point per hex, which could allow for cheaper movement through some of this rougher terrain here. These are both interesting cards that I'll give to Sam. Everybody can only carry 3 or 4 items. I like giving stuff to Sam because, it's closer to the story. Now, poor Merry here is still trapped by these orcs. I can try to get him out of there. He's not, with an escape rating of 6, he's not getting away. Hobbits can't get away on their own, I guess. And Boromir's not going to be likely to be able to save him. But I'm going to send Boromir here to Thranduil's palace, which flips him over to being undetected. And he gets to pull a magic item. That's going to be the Elven Cloak, which makes him harder to capture. Alright, well, I'll take care of the Dark Power player turn and see where we end up after that. So I'm trying to make the guesstimate as to how to play this. I've never been a serious player of this game, never as a gamey sort of event. I've always kind of plowed forward and not really worried too much, and I'm trying a little bit harder to get a grasp on that gamey mechanic of it. And some people complain about it, and I can understand why. However, one of the things that is felt, I think, is that the best defense is to make Mordor, for the Dark Power player, is to make Mordor impregnable by filling it with orcs all over. And I'm certainly doing a little bit towards that, but I'm also stabbing north with the chief of the Dunlendings to go take Hobbiton. It's hard to reach. Thranduil's Palace, another victory condition location with the Easterlings. Again, hard to reach. You move for those early enough. Yes, you're triggering some of these allied forces, but lets you grab them and then concentrate maybe your forces in a different way. So right now, I don't necessarily have to take those areas. I just have to position for them. And when I do so, well, so that I can take them both at once. See, here's the thing. If the Rohirrim are used as a force to help push the Fellowship itself down towards Minas Tirith, then that's weakening the defenses at Edoras. And Edoras and Helm's Deep are the two important locations here. I didn't continue the assault on Helm's Deep. One of the reasons I placed for that was just to continue blocking the Fellowship movement through there. It doesn't seem worth it to finish that unit off when I do have to kind of move some of my orcs into Mordor itself to make it harder to get to Barad-dûr. But, so here's the thing. I guess one of the regular ways of handling things is to march up and take Minas Tirith, or at least put it under siege as quickly as possible to keep the magic items from the Fellowship players' hands. That's tough to do, though, with the mobilization speed that I've got. There's 25 strength points tripled to 75. That would be really hard to match with the speed of forces that I have right now. So one of the things here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Fellowship can't quite reach it this next turn, but they might be able to the turn after that, and that's what I've got to worry about. I may have to set the siege up this upcoming turn just in order to have a chance to stop the Fellowship from getting in there. Taking all that effort to move the armies here, though, may leave Mordor too open. All these things are hard calls to make across the board. All right, there were no attacks, and we're moving forward into the 7th turn. Turn-wise, the Dark Power player grabbed card, another bonus Rivers Flooded. He didn't play it this turn because he thought the Fellowship was going to slide down this way, but instead they all went through Dunharrow. Now this is a longer route, and they're not quite sure why they're doing this now. It's because they're holding the card for it, which will allow more troops at Gondor, but that may not be a great move. So meanwhile, this gives the Sauron player a little bit more time. And what do they do at the time? I'm not sure. They're letting their forces build up, there's no question there, but they moved forward into Esgaroth, preparing for Thranduil's Palace. And now they're in position to attack 2 of the hard-to-get places. They finished their assault over on Helm's Deep, and now they can gather quite a large force to hit Yomer down here in Edoras, along with Saruman's force. And then the final thing is they moved the Lord of the Nazgul and a couple other Nazgul into the way here on this river, preventing the Fellowship from making the easiest route through there without a problem. Meanwhile, Boromir slips away, saying, "It's only a hobbit, man, I don't care," on his horse, and is trying to make his way down to Minas Tirith, where he could do something, perhaps. He might also try to swing through and hit Lorien. There's a lot of cards, 2 in Lorien, which could be very helpful. However, he kind of took the long route. If that's the case, he should have shot through these woods here. Of course, he'd have to face a possible Servant of Sauron card. We haven't seen a single one of them tried yet. The Fellowship avoided this one as well. So, and maybe with the rope, they're going to avoid another one. And I don't know if they're going to actually have to face any of those. Those are basically monsters you have to fight. Like the Balrog, he's the toughest of the pile. And they make for an interesting encounter, especially if you've got something like Frodo and Sam alone somewhere trying to avoid getting captured. Alright, well, let's move on into turn 8. Okay, so let's take a look at what happened, because it's kind of exciting. Each side drew new cards, and they got ones they liked. Well, maybe. The Dark Power player played their Rivers Flooded. They had drawn last turn, and the Fellowship should have realized this. Now this river is going to be more expensive to cross. They can come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down to here in Belfalis. It's going to slow them down a little bit. It's not as big as one of the major rivers, which is really only the Anduin here being flooded, but it's still an extra movement point that is annoying. But the Fellowship got Orcs Feud over Allegiances, which allows a captured character, or all captured characters, to escape during the Fellowship movement phase. Well, you might say they're wasting a card that could be useful for someone else, but they want to get their good old Hobbit out of there, and they'll move on. This guy, well, they're going to try to avoid those Nazgul. They don't want to fight them. And the Dark Power player spends all their effort throwing Nazgul, 5 Nazgul into this location. Try to get a search off. Try to allow them to prevent Aragorn and company from getting through without any damage. As it stands, the fact that the Fellowship's been being slowed down here in the south is giving the Dark Power player more and more time to play out before he has to actually tighten the noose and throw that siege of Minas Tirith down, so he can get the next pile of troops, the next pile of troops. Each turn, it just keeps getting longer and longer that he can take that. Alright, I'm going to load this one up and then come back for another one here. I don't know if I put these, I don't think I put the troops out for this turn. Yeah, I don't believe I did. So let us see. The Variangs. Yeah, I guess I can wait another turn, yeah? I don't know. See, the problem is the Variangs or the Haradrim aren't going to be able to make it up in time. The way I'm doing things. But these are supposed to be in Nirn. I'm hoping I have enough here in Orkland to actually do it. That may not be the case. Well, we'll see.